All right. Let's see here. Do I have sound? It's hard to see. Okay, I do. Fantastic. I've got sound. Let's go. Nice. Okay. So I need to copy this. Wha-bam. Wha-bam. It's a thing. Ba, 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 ba. Boom. All right. So how's it going, people? Welcome to this writing sprint stream. So we are going to be jumping into writing sprints right about. What? Oh, that's weird. That was weird. Anyway, sorry. We're going to be jumping into writing sprints right about 9 o'clock. My anticipation with all of this was that we were going to write all the way up through 1 o'clock. Unfortunately, I have had a bit of a problem that is going to require me to get on a call at like 10:30, and I don't know how long that's going to take. And so we're only going to be streaming until 10:30, but tomorrow I anticipate being here until 1 o'clock. And then again, if you've been hanging around, you probably know this already, but for anybody who hasn't, we're going to be running, or I'm going to be leaving on Wednesday, and I'll be gone for about a week and a half, and I won't be back until like the 17th or something like that. So that's what it's going to be. But this is going to be a fantastic sprint. I'm not going to be writing today. I'm going to be plotting because I sort of hit a wall on Friday and was like, man, I just don't know exactly where I want to take this. And there's some nuance in the characters that I need to work out. And so I'm going to do that. But I also have a just ridiculous number of things that popped up on my plate to handle before I leave, and I'm really hoping to get all of that done. We will see. We will see if it works. But how are you all? How's everybody doing today? How is everybody doing today? That's the question. I'm doing pretty well. I had a good weekend. My wife was sick, though, and so I spent pretty much the whole weekend just sort of hanging out with the kids, and it was good. It was really fun. Yeah. But it also meant that I didn't get a whole lot of work done, and some of the things that I was hoping to have finished before I ended up leaving. My brain is like not working today for some reason. I just saw a little piece of lint and just got like completely distracted. Like it completely derailed my train of thought. Hey, I have a question for all of you. Have you ever looked at yourself in the mirror and been like, wait a second, who is that? I don't know if that's ever happened to you. I don't know if you folks have like a really concrete image in your head of what you look like, but last night I looked in the mirror and for some reason my brain just refused to accept that I was looking at myself. There was just something about it that like completely threw my mind for a loop. Like I couldn't process the fact that it was me in the mirror. It was a weird experience. It was a very weird experience. I don't know that I've ever had that experience before. Strange. Really, really strange. One, two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. Jeez. 29, 30. I'm writing my 30th book. What even is this? I thought I was at like 27. My books keep multiplying. I don't know how. Every time I turn around, it's like, oh, I wrote another book. Which I guess is a good problem to have. Like, if I was going to have a problem, that's the one I should have. I also moved my microphone from this side to this side, and I'm liking it a lot more. It's not covering my screen, which is really nice. Hey, Aaron. How are you doing? Are you going to be sprinting with us? I hope so. In about 20 minutes, we're going to be getting started with our writing sprints. Productivity sprints, you can do whatever. You don't have to write. I'm not going to be writing today. I'm going to be plotting, trying to figure out how to make this awesome. Oh, nice. Already got some work in. I intended to get a little bit of work in this morning, but I jumped on and ended up just getting hammered with like a million things that I thought weren't going to be problems, but turned out to be problems. Yeah. I definitely am feeling the pressure of them. Um, I think that one of the reasons I'm liking them a lot, and I think I'm going to try to do an entire year of sprints. That is when I'm not traveling, which I will be traveling in the next like week and a half. But when I'm not traveling, I'm going to try to do this as much as possible, like a regular daily thing. And because it just sort of forces me into writing myself, and anything that can force me into writing is good in my book. So, but yeah, hopefully we can do some afternoon ones maybe, um, and you can jump on. That'd be awesome. What can I ask? What time zone you're in? Are you? I'm on East Coast. I want to say you're not, but I don't know. Okay, yeah. So maybe we can plan some for later in the day. That might work better with people's work schedules. That is absolutely a 40K figure. Let me grab it. So this is a conversion I did. I freaking love 40K, by the way. This is a conversion I did. I don't know how well you can see it. It's a Chaos Knight with the head of a Great Unclean One up on top. And then I modified the sword into a lance. But yeah, Nurgle's my jam. Death Guard all the way. So this was a Chaos Knight to support my Death Guard army. And then I have some war dogs up there as well. My other models are mostly put away. I don't have them out. Eventually, when I have a spare moment, I'll grab some. Yeah, I did the painting. Imperial Guard. Oh man, I have tried to play Imperial Guard a couple of times, and then just eventually got sort of overwhelmed with the sheer number of models, because I was trying for like full infantry lists, and I think that was a mistake. Um, that dude, listen, I that model is an exception. The reason it's on display is because it's painted. I would say about half of my Death Guard army is painted, and the rest is gray. Now, I haven't played 40K for probably 2.5 years. It's been a long time. But yeah, infantry. I wanted like a full infantry list, like MEQ spam, right? And I got partway through building it and was just like, ugh, I can't even do this. Um, yeah, yeah. Hey, it would be fun to play if we're ever in the same space. It would be really fun to play. Like I said, it's been a long time, so I'd have to relearn the game, but I just love I love 40K. I played competitively for a long time, and I don't know that I'm coming to any cons in Utah this year, but there like a bunch of stuff is on my list for next year, and it would be really cool if I can manage it. Then we should definitely hook up and play some games. Yeah, 40K though, just I was definitely like one of those like gray plastic competitive players, or like 3 dot competitive players. Um, I definitely was all about the game, I was much less about the hobby side and was very much about like min-maxing lists and just, you know, meta sniping and just like crushing people. That was my jam. But it's been, like I said, it's been a long time. I haven't played competitively in a long time. It's been more than I think it's been probably like 4 or 5 years since I played competitively. I got out of it for a little while, and then I got back in and was just sort of casually playing games here and there. But then about 2.5 years ago, when my writing really took off, I realized that I just did not have like the bandwidth for it, and it just didn't work for me anymore, which is a bummer because, you know, I think there are very few things that are more fun than a beer and pretzels 40K game. There's something really magical about it that I have not managed to capture with most other things. Oh, I love that. I love that because Tyranids are also one of my favorite armies, and I have a massive Tyranid army. I should get that out. That's mostly painted. I could put those up. Yeah. Well, hello, everybody. Thank you all for jumping in. I'm glad to see more people are getting on. We are going to be jumping into our sprints starting in 12 minutes. We're going to be running writing sprints or productivity sprints. I'm going to be doing some editing today. I'm sorry, not editing. I will be doing some plotting today to try to figure out some nuances for some of the characters, because I realized I had a problem. On Friday, I was writing, and I just sort of hit a wall, and I didn't know what that wall was. Aaron, awesome to chat, and thank you. Hopefully they'll go well. I'm sure they will. But have fun at work. And yeah, we'll definitely set up some sprints later in the days in the future here. But as I was saying on Friday, I just sort of hit this wall and was like, I don't know what's going on here. Why is it so hard for me to write? What is it about this story that has suddenly slowed down? Because I was cruising at a really good pace up until that point. Hey, Jacob. And I realized that I was having a character problem. And so this is where, as a pantser, I don't really have the ability to like just sit down and figure it out on the page. Or if I do that, it's going to take me a really, really long time, right? Because I'm constantly going to be writing something and then being like, that's not quite it, and then deleting and writing again. So instead, I'm going to borrow a little bit from the Plotter handbook, and I'm going to actually sit down and clearly delineate who I want these characters to be. Now, this isn't a character problem in the like grand sense. It's a character problem in that I have not clearly identified what my character growth arc is going to be, and I need to do that. I need to work that out. And so the question is that going to be something that I I can just sort of allow to grow naturally, which is often how I do it as a pantser, or is it something that I'm going to plan out meticulously? And in this particular case, because of the type of story, I think I'm going to plan it out meticulously, and I'm not sure. Jay is asking, are you talking about side character arcs or the main character's arc? You know, I'm actually talking about both, because this was the realization I had. I was allowing my main character to react based on what my side characters were doing. But I realized that I don't want to do that. I want my main character to be the driving force, and I want them to react based on what's happening with my main character. And so I need to have in order for that to work, though, I need to have a really clear sense of my main character and how the character is going to grow over time. Jacob, I don't do Enneagrams. If I'm honest, I don't really do anything like that. And the reason I don't do anything like that is because I find that typing my characters puts them into a box that I have trouble getting out of. The reality is that most people, when thrown into new situations, will react less based on their personality and more based on their experiences. This is just a personal observation that I've made. It's just sort of a personal belief. I'm not stating anything concrete here. But I think that most people respond based on their past experiences and their worldview rather than on their personality. Personality obviously influences worldview and past experiences, and the lens through which you've interpreted past experiences. But I think that we limit ourselves with we limit ourselves when we lean heavily into personality type. And so that's why I don't do it. Again, that's just a personal opinion. I know other authors do it and they love it, and it's very helpful for them. Jay, do you ever write a short side story about a character just to see who they are and where they are in life? I don't. And I've got an opinion about this too. Before I jump into that, though, hi, everybody. Welcome to the stream. In 6 minutes, we're going to be jumping into our first writing sprint, or editing sprint, or plotting sprint, or whatever it is you're going to be doing, whatever kind of concentrated work you're going to be doing. I'm going to be plotting today. I want to make sure I have a really concrete grasp on not only the characters, but also on the where the story is going. So, but let's talk about this. Writing side stories and why I don't do it. So I don't write side stories for my characters because I have, and this is a hot take and I know it, I think it's a waste of time. One of the important things to understand about me in particular, and this isn't true for everybody, and so I don't think that everybody needs to follow my methodology, but one of the things that's important for me is efficiency. And I try to keep an incredibly high level of production. And so anytime I spend writing, I want to be writing something that will be published, something that has value for my career. And so spending time writing a side story for a character just so I can feel out where they are doesn't make sense to me. I can do exactly the same thing by just writing a few key details about their life. And then that gives me enough of a story to have a sense for what it is. Now, if you are not a full-time author, if you are not obsessed with efficiency and maximizing productivity like I am, and you are more interested in the craft side of writing, then I don't think there's anything wrong with writing a short side story. In fact, I think that it can be really helpful. But for me, it doesn't work. And part of the reason it doesn't work for me is because I cannot write short stories. Every time I try to write a short story, it just balloons, and the scope grows and grows and grows and grows. In fact, I tried to write a short story in the Titan or the Nova Terra Titan universe, the Titan series and Tower series universe, and it ended up as an entire book. It's called Mad Master Alchemist, and you can go and read it on Amazon. Hey, Bodegazilla. Welcome to the Sprints. So I have this sort of problem where any time I try to write something, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. This is one of the reasons that I'm so just incredibly concentrated on narrowing scope and trying to make sure that I'm fitting everything in a story within 47 chapters, which for me is about 120,000 words. And the reason I'm so obsessed with that is because otherwise my books would just grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. My first book was like 230 some thousand words, and I could have kept going. And I had to like forcefully stop myself and then split it into two different books. And so because my tendency is to go long, I'm typically very careful about what I start writing. So I hope that answers your question. I don't think it's a bad idea. Like fundamentally, I think that it's a sound principle to write side stories. I just think where I am in my career, it doesn't fit. Yeah, that's the thing, is that because I'm a pantser and because I'm interested in exploration with my writing, like that's my primary focus, is exploring a world and the characters and the interactions between characters. So I'm constantly introducing new like scenarios and stuff, and that doesn't work for a short story. Yeah, Bodegazilla's right. Short stories and novels are very different, and I am definitely a novelist. I write in length. They require different skill sets to be able to write. And I have definitely done it. I mean, Nova Terra Titan started as a short story. I had a particular thing that I wanted to figure out, and so I wrote this little short story, and then it ended up being 15 chapters long. And so it wasn't a short story anymore. And then I was like, well, let me post it. And I posted it, and then I ended up turning it into a book. Well, 2 books. And then I ended up writing 8 more in that series before I was finally like, man, I got to cut this off because I could go to 40 books if I'm not careful. And then I was like, wait a second, I still have more story to tell. And then I ended up starting the Tower series, right? But Nova Terra Titan started as something really small and then just ballooned into this 10-book series, right? I have trouble writing small. So we are going to jump into our sprints, though. We are going to put 31 minutes on the clock. Ah, shoot. I got to go do something really quick. I am going to put some music on, and I'm going to get our, boom. There we go. And I'm going to get this party started with our first sprint of the day, and then I'll be right back. All right, folks, that is it for our first sprint of the day. We are done. So that's number one. We're going to be jumping into another sprint here in 9 minutes. How'd we do? If you were writing, drop those word counts in the chat. I was doing some plotting, and I'm very happy that I did. I always go into plotting feeling, I think because I'm a pantser, I always go into plotting feeling sort of unsure if it's actually going to help or not. Like, is this actually going to help me succeed? You know, what's the what's the relative value of this? And I don't know if I'm actually going to come up with stuff I like, etc., etc. But I am so glad that I'm doing this because it helped me realize some other problems that I have that I need to figure out how to sort of, you know, massage into shape so that I don't run into major problems in later books. Jay, 725, Jacob, 718, Lady, a page and a half. Love it. Good job, folks. Well done, well done. One of the things that I'm trying to do with this book series that I have not done with previous book series is I'm trying to make the entire 6-book arc incredibly cohesive. I don't typically worry about that. When I'm writing a series, I just focus on the book that I'm writing, and I really sort of just pour myself into that book, and then I let the story percolate and develop organically. This time I'm trying something new. This time I'm trying to put a little bit more thought and effort into not just sort of drifting along after the characters, which is what I typically do, but instead trying to establish the story so that it is effectively one book with 6 parts, right? While also making each of those parts a distinct book in and of itself. It's a challenge. I hopefully will succeed. There's no guarantee that I will, though. And so because of this, I'm having to make some different decisions than I have made previously with other books. But I'm pretty excited about it. I think it's going to do really well. Yeah, it's a fun story. But what I realized is that I don't just need to understand the main character and the side characters, I also need to understand the villains. And that's something I hadn't thought of before. I will say that writing villains is one of my weaknesses. Not because I can't write good antagonists, but because I don't pay attention to them. I'm often so focused on the main character, and because I write OP main characters, I just end up in this place where, like, the villains are sort of throwaway. They're like a bump in the road as opposed to a big brick wall. And in this series, I'm going to try to do that differently. I'm going to try to understand a little bit more about the villain. I'm going to, try to introduce the villain earlier in the story, because that's one of the things that I'm pretty bad at, is introducing villains early. I typically am just like, hey, we're halfway through the book. I guess I need a villain. Boom, there's a villain. Sometimes, in a lot of books, there just isn't a villain. And in other books, I just throw a villain in at the last, 10 chapters. I'm like, haha, he's arrived. And then whoever the main character is, usually Thorne or John, throat punches him. Boom, that's it. I started paying more attention to my villains in Dreamer's Throne. And I think that I liked the way that it worked out in Dreamer's Throne. And so I'm going to try a little bit more of that, which means that I need to not only know my main character, my side characters, but I also need to know my villains as well, so that I can start sprinkling them throughout. And I have a villain that will be introduced in book 1 that will be the final villain in book 6 to hopefully give a nice little arc that, yeah. And then, of course, we'll have smaller villains sprinkled throughout. But yeah, and Jay, to that point, I am not planning on giving the villain necessarily a lot of screen time. I just need to know who they are so that I can represent them well when they do show up, right? So that I can also explain what is actually villainous about them. One of the things that really bothers me in stories is when you have a hero who is set against another character, and that other character is represented as the villain, but really they're just a normal person. Like, they're just going about their life, and this hero has decided something sort of arbitrarily and is like, I am going to free the world from tyranny, even though the other character is not really a tyrant, right? And so I want to make sure that in this case, because that's not the kind of story I want to write, and that's not the kind of story that this is, I need to just really bear down and make sure that my villain is villainous, that they're actually, a problem, that they're not going to just be there as sort of a foil for the main character. I want them to actually be a villain. Right. That's a great point, Jacob. Antagonists are not necessarily villains. They're just somebody who has a different objective than the main character, and those objectives are at odds, and they clash, right? And I don't mind when there's an antagonist who's not a villain. I just hate when an antagonist who shouldn't be a villain is represented as a villain, right? And I want to make sure I don't do that. So I will have antagonists who are not villains, and I will probably have some sort of throwaway villains because that's fun, and that's why I write, for fun. But I think overall, I really want to understand this villain. Well, folks, we have 1 minute left until we're going to jump back into our sprints. Welcome to everybody who's jumped in. Rachel, it's good to see you again. And we are going to be kicking off this sprint in just a minute. But before we get into it, I just want to let you know I had a meeting come up. I was planning on sprinting all the way to 1 today, but I had a meeting come up that I cannot skip. And so because I'm leaving on Wednesday and I have to deal with it. So we will be ending after this next sprint. And I'm very sorry to let you all know that. I was really hoping to sprint all the way till 1 o'clock, but I have stuff I got to deal with before I leave. Tomorrow, however, I am planning on being here for the full sprint. Once again, jump on at 8:30, and we run all the way till 1 o'clock. So, with all of that said, let's go ahead. 31 minutes on the clock. Take a deep breath. Think about what it is you're going to be working on. We'll kick our music off, and we'll get started. All right, folks. Oh, yeah. We are done with our second sprint of the day. This will be the last sprint of the stream. But welcome to everybody who has jumped on. Katrina, Andrew, welcome. So, Katrina, to answer your question, this is a normal process. I am typically on Monday through Friday-ish, usually 4 days a week, actually. Fridays can be a little bit rough. But I run sprints. These writing sprints are so that we can get some work done. And it's just really a co-writing stream, so we can all work on our individual tasks together and make some progress. Today I am doing some plotting. I'm really trying to flesh out my my world and my characters, some of the more important pieces. I was able to get my main character to understand what kind of character growth he's going to go through. I was able to identify some specific things and also set a target for what I want him to be like at the end of my story. I was also able to identify the main three characters, side characters, and what kind of growth they would go through as well. Then also, I'm working on my villains, trying to understand them, as well as the kind of magic that I'm going to put into this fantasy world. I'm working on a new series called Iron Tyrant, and this is going to be a 6-book series. I'm about halfway done with the first book, and expect to be done with it by mid-February, especially now that I have all of this down. And man, am I excited for it. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. So I want to say thank you all, everyone, so much for jumping on and running sprints with me. I will be back tomorrow, again at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be running through till 1 o'clock tomorrow. Hopefully. things have been coming up. But then on Wednesday, I'm going to be leaving for a trip. I will be going to speak at the ASC Author Sustainability Conference in Dublin, and that will and I will not be back until for like a week and a half. I'll be back, I think, the 8th or 9th of February, and then the 12th, we'll be back to sprinting as well. So I've got to run because I've got a meeting coming up here. But thank you all so much for joining. J1560, love it. All right. Thank you all, and hope to see you tomorrow. I'll see you.